What's up everyone, welcome back to a new video on the Alien Algo channel. Today we will be getting straight into it. So, of course we will be starting with the general markets, meaning the index funds, where we currently are still consolidating below this crucial area. Because when we look at this on a weekly, because this of course has been taken from this part to this part right here, meaning that weekly candle. So we want a weekly close above this, which we currently have been failing to do 2 times thus far. As you can see, we still have 3 days and 6 hours left. So when we simply look at this, we will go onto the 1 day, see we still are holding it thus far. On the 4 hour, it still seems quite decent with pretty decent sized wicks on the bottom side, where it is looking a little bit like this part in price, but then reversed. So I still expect that stocks will either we should move up and clear this level, just like we did right here, and if not, because currently it is Iran and Israel and the US will most likely be getting involved as it seems so far, so we might be gearing up for World War III, so we do have to be on the defensive side. So with that having said, we do also have to look at this scenario, where we see some major crash out of nowhere, where, well, currently it's not really out of nowhere anymore, but this is something we do have to watch out for. So I do think this is still that crucial level on the weekly. This is the level we are watching for, and on the daily, this is the level we are watching. Note this anomaly right here. This is what I find acceptable, just like here. Because what really happened here, we've just gotten a fake breakdown and the next candle closed above. So let's say we have 3 candles closing below. Okay, now I'm bearish if this happens, but if one closes below and the second is already gearing up green, I'm really not that concerned. Just like what happened here. So unless we see multiple candles closing below this, I will turn bearish. So with that explained, let's get into the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq is still holding up quite well, as you can see, with it barely being, it's really barely any red. When we look at the Dow Jones, this one has had a bigger hit because the industrial sector is of course what is getting hit the most with trade wars and those such of things. The thing most people are here for again is Bitcoin, of course. And when we currently look at Bitcoin, it looks quite shit. I'm not gonna lie. But when we look at this on a 1 hour, there of course were a couple hints. And I will switch to the volume chart in a bit. Because what did we really get? We had this daily MPOC, which was a big resistance on that 4 hour and on that 1 day. So here we again rejected. What did we want to see in the previous video? We started this move up already, and I recorded the video right around here, where I was saying this looks like a new compression to get some continuation. What do we want to see to be able to play that continuation? Either a break from this level and a retest, and then we go up to right about here. Well, this is exactly where we stopped. Right at that point of the arrow is where we stopped if you look at the left side. And what really happened? Because there were of course 2 scenarios we were watching, either the break up and reclaim to play that continuation right up, or we would fail first, retest this or this, and then we go up. And we got the most bullish way we could have played this, meaning this break up, the retest, and the move towards that upside right here, like drawn. But what did we get after? Because did I know the news? No, I had no fucking clue. Nobody does. So what did we really get? When you look at this on a 4 hour, a fake break, and we later found acceptance below it with 3 candles. 1, 2, 3. This, like I explained on the S&P. If this candle would have closed right here, I really wouldn't be a little bit worried. But now we get 1, 2, 3 candles below it, which made me concerned a little bit. And when I will show you guys the volume charts, it will most likely clear up a lot of things. Because here we had a major sell wall in the order books. And this time we did not kill them. Here we also had a major wall in the order books, but this one we cleared quite easily with just a continuation pattern. Here we just rejected off that wall, and later we found acceptance back below it. And you already see what happened right after. So, when you look at the volume chart, these were the levels we were watching, based on high volume nodes and low volume nodes right in between. Like this, here the low volume is starting. Thus far, we just shred through it like butter. And we already see this, where this was your value area high when you looked at, instead of, because this profile is set all the way to here. When we set the profile to here, this was your value area high. And this was also on this volume profile right here, a high volume node. With a high volume node, that order book wall appeared, which we rejected from. And you can quite clearly see how these levels are getting respected. On a 13-minute, this is the most clean time frame in my opinion, where we see this right here. You see a clear top being formed, clearly rejection, massive engulfing candle. And we just continue, form a continuation. And now I want you guys to note this little part, because what were we watching yesterday? We were watching this part, where we had this compression, and we wanted to see it break up from. Now, look on the left. What did we get? This is a compression into the other side. And what does a compression usually mean? It usually is a continuation in the trend that existed before the compression. So note how there are two big differences right here. I'll make this the color blue, and I will quickly do the same for this. Where you quite clearly see, here we were moving up, compression was made, and we continue up. Here we moved down first, compression is made, and we continue to the downside. This is a clear thing that people don't understand with continuation patterns. So let's say the price is doing something like this, and now we start to compress. Now I expect continuation towards the upside, because this part was moving up. So here I would rather play this to the upside than expect it to fill back to the downside. But now let's say we have something in the opposite way, where we have a downwards move, a clear trend, and we start to get a compression. Now I rather play continuation towards the downside, because we are compressing right after a downwards move, meaning a possible continuation pattern in the existing trend. And here the trend will be down when you look at this from a logical market point. Right here, you see how it is creating lower lows and lower highs. And then you get that compression, where this, yes, of course it could do something like this, but then you would have a clean reversal. But here I would rather expect it to fill, where we just continue further down, where I see this as your continuation. And this is exactly what we had. Here we had continuation after an upwards move. Here we get a downwards move, we get some compression, and you continue it to the downside. So with that concept having explained, let's get into those higher time frames. Because there, of course, was a little bit of a concern if we really lose this POC from this major profile. Because this POC also is correlating quite closely with this value area low, where this was your prior range before you broke out. So this would be quite crucial, and as you can see here, we also had support on it. Here, this support existed. I need to do it on the 1 day because otherwise it's a bit too close. So here you clearly see it, where we dipped below and we got bought up quite quickly. So here I would simply want to see the same. And if we don't, I really do expect that we just grind a lot lower. And I will explain you why quite quickly. If a little thing I've just built, because I am the laziest trader you will ever find. So I built cheat codes for myself. And I will first remove the volume profile. So when we look at this, we see a VWAP, and actually we see two VWAPs. With one being, if you guys can see, from January until the next. So this is a 1 year VWAP. What do we have in between? From April until June. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a quarterly. Wait, I'm not counting properly right now. This should be a 3-month period. Yes, okay, 3 months. So quarterly, so 3 months. And how can we use this? You simply have a value area, just like on the profiles. And this is your value area, where in a trend, when you pull back into this can be a rejection, where we are able to trade it to the downside. And the same, of course, goes for this side, where you see we pull across that value area, we get a retest, and we move up again. But currently, we want to see this in the opposite side, meaning we want to see that value area hold, because otherwise you usually get a reversal the opposite way, like here. You see rejection, rejection, and here you see that continuation pattern where we move through the value area. And now let's state that if we really lose this value area, what do you think will happen? We will most likely chop down all the way towards here, where your quarterly VWAP is and your yearly VWAP is. So this part is really crucial. And to add to that, this part of price action where we moved up quite quickly without any retest, here is a lack of volume. So if we really lose this, it should be quite quickly that we move to here. And this is also being confirmed here by the volume profile. You see here, there is a big gap. So now let's add the volume profile to it, where instead of 1 month, we will be using a quarterly. So we quickly have to wait, let it load. And so I'll remove that drawing here. And now I'll remove the VWAP to make it a little bit more clear. You see here this volume profile from a 3-month perspective, meaning quarterly, of course, just like the lower time frame VWAP I showed in this video. So where do we see the lack of volume? Here. This till here is your lack of volume, meaning there is still a massive gap to be filled. Like you can see here, when we went into this low volume area, we sliced through it, going all the way towards these high volume levels within no time. And of course here we formed the bottom and then we went back up again. So this is something that really could happen, which I don't think people are prepared for. When you look at this part, this is that low volume area. This is a price movement of almost 3.5%. So when we really lose this, I already drawn it here. If we only lose this, we should really be catching support at that next high volume area, which is right there. So if we really lose this level, we really should be prepared for a deeper bleed. Unless, of course, we just manage to hold this POC. Then I'm really not looking at lower levels for now. But I do have to prepare you for both sides, so if you don't like it, fuck off, simply. Because we as traders have to look at both sides, and I want you guys to be prepared for both scenarios. As you can see, we are getting some buying volume right here, which if I turn on lower time frame VWAP, I just switch the mode. Good thing I've built this. So here you see already volume is decreasing, because here volume is high in these bars, and this bar still has no color, meaning there is a lack of volume. How do we break a level? With volume. So perfect example, here you have volume breaking that level. Here volume came, volume died, and we did not break the level. We only broke the level when volume was going with the move. Here again, we have volume going towards that upside, trying to break that level. If this level really would have broke, we would have seen multiple candles just like here. And here we see one massive blue candle. But what really happened before? We try to break the level with volume, and volume dies because there are no bar crawler in here. Meaning there is a lack of volume in that move. So this, you already see it right here again. This is just a script I built myself based on volume spikes. I'm quite sure I posted this in VP's Discord, but I did not add the bar coloring. But if you have the indicator, you can quite simply build it yourself, or just find those volume spikes. To illustrate relative volume, right here, you see it from this bar to this bar. There is volume here again. You see how it is just using these volume spikes that I have filtered. So when we look at this, we can sort of assume that this will most likely hold unless high volume comes in at this next bar. So what do we want to see hold? Quite clearly this low. If this low holds, I do expect that we move towards that upside. And if we don't hold, then your next crucial point is right around here, because we do have some poor lows, as you can see there. With these, we could get this. If we don't reclaim, I'm going straight to watch this level. Quite simple. So, is it a little bit of a bearish scenario if we do? Yes. But do I expect more upside in the rest of the year? Yes. But do we have to be prepared for a possible pullback? Always. So, let's get into ETH. I went over a bit more detail, so this video is a little bit longer. So when we get into ETH, we quite clearly again see that we have rejected off those range highs, and we started to move down again, tried to push above that 0.5 level, and later we found acceptance back below it, where we got sent straight back to those range lows. So when we look at the lower time frames for ETH, it's quite similar. When you look at this, you again see you touched these range lows and you are currently moving up from them. Will we continue up? I clearly don't know at this point. It's just, I assume we should move up, but if Iran or US or something wants to talk again, we do have to adjust that bias. So let's look at ETH on a volume level. What were those scenarios we were watching, and what did I state in that previous video? that we were at this value area high in correlation with this 0.75 level, which acted as that crucial resistance. I'll quickly clean this up because this play already has done its thing, and I will keep these on the lower time frames because this is quite simply what I expect if we move down. There are two scenarios where we either sweep, aggressive reclaim, and find acceptance back above to move back towards those highs, or we sweep, and instead of sweeping we start to consolidate, where we don't get an aggressive reclaim. Here I would see this as a continuation pattern towards the downside. So these are the triggers we are watching for now. So this is your current low. For BTC, this is your current low, which you want to see hold. Next up, this is that crucial area to flip to see more upside, meaning something like this, where we blast through this low volume node again and get straight into those high volume nodes. For ETH, the exact same. And here we have that POC, which is correlating with these previous lows. So these currently are the plays I will be watching. So with all that having said, my excuse that this video is a bit longer, I wanted to explain this a little bit deeper in terms of overall markets. So with that having said, have a nice day guys and keep trading.